Okay, we'll start the next the business meeting now. We'll go right into item 5, which is open forum. A member from the public who wishes to address the council on an item that does not list tonight's agenda.
Good evening. My name is and a lot of things happening in our community right now. Last night, a rather interesting school board meeting with a lot of discussion going on about the books of concern in our schools. And so there's been a lot of good dialogue that's come out of that. On the national level, I have concerns again about COVID. And we have recent news items that have come out talking about the new approved COVID-19 vaccine and the FDA's decision on this newest shot from Moderna, Pfizer, and its partner BioNTech opens it up that these vaccines will be available to everybody. And then they were waiting on a decision from the ACIP committee. And so I just received news on that this afternoon at 5 o'clock. That committee voted 13-1 to have the vaccines available for 6 months and up. So this is a brand new vaccine. And again, where are the long-term studies? Where's the information about safety and efficacy? And here we are 3 years later. I do hope that we're at a point where we have open, honest discussions and bring both sides to the table to discuss it. I don't have any idea where our city council stands on the possibility of changes such as mandates or anything else coming down the pike, but there are news of that happening in other parts of the country, universities, cities, different places. So before anything like that would happen here in Brookings, I do hope that we have open and honest discussions. The gentleman that did vote against having these vaccines available for 6 months and up, Pablo J. Sanchez, medical doctor, explains, "We have extremely limited data on children and infants and other individuals, and I think that needs to be made available to the parents. I also think that in certain circumstances, we do have to be concerned about potential side effects, especially in young adults and in young adult males. And so I think all of that needs to be weighed. And so that's why I hesitate to make it just a universal recommendation." So with that kind of voice coming from that committee at that level, I hope we take that into serious consideration. And just as a note here, the WEF has put out a statement that they expect the next pandemic to be emerging globally on or around September 13th. That's pretty imminent. So one final closing note that I'll make. I know I'm running close on my time. J. Mike Fields, "Life constantly gives what we ask. Through our thoughts, emotions, and actions, we're creating our world. We can live in a world full of fear or full of love, and whatever you decide, so it is." I won't say your names individually, but I love you. I love you. Thank you.
Anyone else have comments that they want to bring before the... I do have one announcement. I was asked to relay this to the public. SDSU India Night on Sunday night at 5:45 at the Wallstorf Ballroom. I do not know what the fee is for it, but I have gone to a few of the international dinners, and they've always been a lot of fun. Highly recommend it if you ain't got anything else to do on Sunday night. With that being said, we'll go to the consent agenda. Are there any items that need to be removed from the consent agenda? Seeing none, entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Any public comment on any of the items on the consent agenda? Council have any questions, comments? Please call the roll.
Duran. Aye. Niemeyer.
Aye.
Rasmussen.
Aye.
Specker.
Aye.
Tiltonburn.
Aye.
Wendell.
Aye.
Avery.
Aye.
Motion passes. Presentations and reports. Annual report of the Downtown at Sundown event.
Hello, everyone. My name is intern for Downtown at Sundown this summer. I'm a senior at SDSU, and just with your significant financial investment in the event, we wanted to come give you a little report of how the year went. So, we're going to go through a big list of key items that we had for this year. So let's just, a little background about Downtown at Sundown. It's a 5-week concert series, or at least it was this year. It began on July 27th and went through August 24th. All of those dates, it was from 5 to 9 p.m. This is the 8th year that we've been holding Downtown at Sundown. It's looked a little different each year, and we'll kind of go through that a little bit too. But throughout the entire 8 years, the primary goal of the event has been to create a free all-ages event central to gathering for community members and visitors alike.
So Kelsey Doom here with the Brookings Area Chamber of Commerce. Liz did a fantastic job with Downtown at Sundown this year, and I want to give a little bit of history on the event. So the Downtown at Sundown idea came from a charrette back in 2013, and it really was a great example of the community partners working together. The idea came from the charrette that BEDC hosted. The following year, the city, consisting of Tim Reed, who was mayor at the time, and Jeff Weldon, the city manager, along with the CVB and Downtown Brookings, Inc., they strategized and ultimately hired a consulting firm, Annie Creek LLC, based out of Spearfish, to help us get this going. 2016 was the first year that it was put on, and back then it was 7 weeks. When the chamber took it over in 2019, we put that down to 5 weeks just to be sustainable for such a small team.
Yeah, so like Kelsey mentioned, we are run by the Brookings Area Chamber of Commerce, and our team consists largely of interns. So I was the lead intern this year, and I had 4 event day interns. So I would be Ainsley Bennett, Ella Winter, Rachel Schmitz, and Raina Visnes. They're all SDSU students as well. A couple of them have expressed interest in coming back next year as the lead intern, so that's really great for the program. And then we also have our chamber staff that helps out each week as well. So for 2023, we had a couple key initiatives. So like we said, it's that 5-week concert series, and then 3 of those weeks we had themed events. So week 3 was Multicultural Night, week 4 was New Resident Welcome Night, and week 5 was SDSU Night, and Kelsey will kind of talk about how those play in with some chamber initiatives.
Yeah, so the Chamber's 2025 strategic plan has been to address a few different populations, 2 of which are our new residents moving to the community and SDSU students. We've always been doing that, but we want to do it much better. And so these are a couple ways that we're trying to do fewer things as a Chamber of Commerce, but doing all of those things much better.
So with the goal of this event being a family-friendly free event, obviously a big part of that is our Kids Zone. This year it looked a little different, had to get a little creative, but we really had great success in it still. A couple of things we did, we had weekly, so face painting we did weekly. We partnered with some nonprofits as well as the 8th grade fundraising group going to Washington, D.C. and had some of their parents doing those face paintings. Week 2 of our event, we had a carnival night, so different nonprofits came in and ran those carnival games that we provided all for them. So had a lot of great community involvement in that Kids Zone as well, and then some one-off things that we did, like having the Zoom-mobile come up, having some balloon twisting, things like that, really get some kids and family engagement.
So the financials from the money side of things, the city allocation of $25,000 was used well. We did get more income than expected. A lot of that came from our sponsorships. For the first time, we did fill all of our sponsorships, and that was fantastic to see. So we did come in over on our revenue. On our expenses, our operations is typically our biggest expense. That includes things like porta potties, sound and light, water, electricity. Our payroll is under that. Any sort of equipment that we need to purchase. Marketing, we were able to spend more. I love that line because all of our marketing is done with local agencies. Entertainment, those are the bands that we have coming into town. And a ton of in-kind donations this year that helped us out a lot. We really, really appreciated that. So we ended up with a net of just over $4,000.
Kelsey kind of touched on some of our marketing there. We really hope to get as many people, all ages, all demographics as possible. So hit a couple of different key marketing strategies, one of which was social media. We had 12.7 thousand Facebook unique visits, as well as 1.6K on Instagram. Same with our website, 2.8 thousand unique visits. So that's not the same person coming back again and again, but unique visits. And then through some other marketing like radio ads, billboard ads, Town and Country Shopper, Dakota News Now, and Brookings Register, really trying to hit all those different advertising areas. For attendance, we had a little bit of variations week by week due to a couple of different reasons. Week 1 was 106 degrees, so it was a warm one out there. So we think that lower attendance kind of hit because of that reason, and then week 2 skyrocketed with those people who weren't able to attend week 1. As well as for week 2, we had Rowan Grace perform that night, which is more of a nationally known artist, so that kind of contributed to that increase in attendance there as well. Some other nights kind of evened out a little bit with Multicultural Night. New Resident Welcome Night was actually week 4, not week 2, and then SDSU Night bumping up again with those students back on campus. So in total for our 5-week series, we had 20,123 individual attendees. That is a 12% increase from 2022, and 2022 actually had a 48% increase, so still seeing that growth year to year and large jumps of individuals coming to our event.
We get the most asked question is, how do we know how many people come through? We actually have individuals sitting at each entrance. We partner with the 8th grade group who's fundraising to go to DC. We pay them to sit, and they have a clicker, and they're clicking each person that comes through.
So with our event, we just want to be really conscious of our weaknesses and strengths, really evaluating our performance. So with that, we did a basic SWOT analysis. Some of those strengths we saw, like I mentioned, was that growing attendance from year to year. Our intern program, our team was really strong this year. We've never had an intern come back who was an event day intern coming into a lead internship, the lead intern role, and we've had 2 already express interest in it, so hoping that program really just continues to flourish there. Once again, our sponsorships were filled for the first time, creating that good revenue there, and then shifting our schedule to the first week of classes, having those SDSU students in attendance, and we plan to do that in the future as well. Saw a lot of strength in that. Some weaknesses then, with Multicultural Night, we didn't advertise as much as we could have. It didn't quite have the multicultural presence that we had hoped for. With that comes opportunity for growth in the future, of course. Advertising to SDSU student groups, specifically different vendors and things earlier on in the year to try and get that presence more so. Another weakness would be the lack of food vendors. Only 3 of our vendors this year served food, so wasn't a lot of options there for attendees. A couple other opportunities would be the location. Our current setup is kind of an L shape down Main and 5th. So we're looking at maybe changing that up to be all on Main Street, give a little more visual ease to the event. Hope that would maybe increase attendance, just have people know where things are a little better, things like that. And then once again, with that New Resident Welcome Night, just continuing to do that. I know many of you guys were at that event greeting our new residents in Brookings, so that was great.
And then some threats that we have that we need to face is the inflatables. We want this to be an event that people can bring their kids to, and it's a family-friendly event. And we 100% respect the decision of council not to allow inflatables and understand, but it does cause, we spend a lot of time filling that kid zone space with activities. It feels empty with just a few different vendors, and so that took up a lot of time. Crazy Days is the same week as the first week of Downtown at Sundown. We're collaborating with Downtown Brookings. I believe they're planning to move Crazy Days into June, which is perfect. And downtown buy-in, how can we spin this for the downtown businesses to see this as an opportunity and not something that closes down their street 3 hours early on a Thursday? I'm not a business owner. I can't relate to that, so I need to figure out a way to do that. Weather, enough said, and inflation. We had a lot of, we budget for inflation each year, but this past year really hurt with some expenses that came in a lot higher than we expected, so.
All of these great things wouldn't be made possible without our sponsors, one of which largely is you guys as the city. So huge thanks to you. And then we really love this graphic, seeing all of our partners in the community all together on that one graphic. We really just appreciate their buy-in. So.
And if you guys have any questions, we'd be happy to stay and answer. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for your investment. We hear resounding approval of this event from everybody that comes. It's been a great workforce retention effort for our businesses, having something in the summer that keeps their college kids to hang out downtown and their families to have something to do. So keep on investing in it.
Anybody got any questions, comments? Oh, Councilmember Tiltonburn.
I want to, first of all, just say thank you for always putting this on. It is, I know my family went and enjoyed it, so thank you for the hard work that goes into this. One question I had is, you mentioned that an area where you could perhaps grow and improve is food vendors. With as many restaurants as there are downtown, has there been conversations with those restaurants about either maybe having some kind of hybrid where they have like a food stand outside their restaurant, or have like a walkout meal where they could, you know, attendees of the event could come in and say, we're attending Downtown at Sundown, can we just get the walkout meal and then go out and enjoy the music, or something along those lines that would maybe not require an actual booth, but utilize those restaurants downtown?
Yeah, that's actually a really great idea. No, we had not thought about that. Another thing that we think might be keeping a few restaurants, is workforce. Nick's Burgers can't stay open later than 7 o'clock due to his team not being able to stay later than 7. And they're right there, right? He would love to, but he's not able. The other thing is we currently require food vendors to sign up for all 5 weeks so that we know that we're going to have enough food for people at the event. So we might take a risk and cut that down if somebody just wants to come for 2 weeks or something like that. Also looking at the fees, but also collaborations like that. So keep those ideas coming.
I'm trying to recall of the nights that we were there, were any of the food vendors food trucks?
Shorty's was the only food truck we had. Yep.
Great, thank you.
Got to hear quite a few good stories from people that moved here, various reasons why they moved, maybe a job, maybe a gentleman from the East Coast was just traveling through the United States looking for another place to live in his retirement, and he didn't go any further than Brookings. And it was really a fun story to hear. And so it was fun to meet people that night, and they were from all over the United States. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, we had ended up with over 70 new themselves as a new resident. So that plays into our new resident welcome efforts that the chamber has overall. So it was a success.
All right. Any questions, comments? Okay, SDSU's Association report. Michael Garofalo, our Association Government Affairs Chair, will give us a presentation.
Okay. I stay in office for you. You don't really have a choice. But so just to give you guys a real quick update on relating to our attendance policies. We changed our emergency proxy form cutoff from 24 hours to 7 hours just because, you know, same day sickness, family emergency, that's something that members wanted to see change. So we have a little bit more flexibility in our attendance policy for meetings. And then we also decided to phase out caucus reports from individual colleges because most updates we give now just come towards the end of our meeting. And we also have 2 college caucuses that are just 1 person. So in order to fulfill the requirements for a caucus report, you'd have to present to the president before and have 2/3 of the caucus vote to approve. That was the understanding from when we still did them, and some of those people would just be talking to themselves. So we figured we could maybe streamline that process a little bit. Then jumping into some of my other hats that I wear as Gov Affairs Chair, we're working on the Student Promotion Fund a lot more. The committee's been named, and we have our first application to meet with next week, which is super exciting. And also on campus, the GAF Strategic Plan Committee has been meeting a little bit, kind of off to a slow start this semester. We're trying to figure out chairs for each of the 5 work groups we have, but we're gaining some steam on that and hoping to get a lot of work done before Christmas break, so keep an eye out for that. GAF, for anyone who might not know, is a general activity fee. It's a portion of tuition that each student pays into, so we, as a student senate, are working on restructuring that plan to spend more on what students would like to see at SDSU for the next 5 years. And then another committee that I serve on is the Mental Wellbeing Task Force. We met for the first time of semester this week, talking a lot about just resource assessment and the white paper we drew up last semester. And this year, we split into 2 new groups, one about professional development and training and one about campus community well-being. I'm part of the community well-being group, and we're going to be working on programming during the week of and on the day of October 10th, which is World Mental Health Day. So stay tuned for some planned events on campus on that day, hopefully. And then moving into just some general campus updates before I wrap up. One Day for State was last week. We raised about $2.5 million in 24 hours, which was super awesome. We continue to defy expectations with that, and it was just a great day. The Pride that I'm a part of, we got to perform at the Block Party, which is about 1,000 feet from my house, so it was a really nice way to spend the evening. And then, oh, I left my phone over there, but this is a very fun announcement that I get to make because it's from an email we got from President Dunn this morning telling us that thanks to ongoing commitments and a very generous donation from Jerome J. Lohr of $5 million to endow a new scholarship in the engineering college, the South Dakota State University Bold and Blue campaign will be surpassing $500 million. So that is some very exciting news we just got this morning. And other than that, upcoming events, we don't have a football game for a couple of weeks, so the Pride finally gets a weekend off after we go to Minneapolis this weekend. But last weekend's game was super awesome. It was intense. It was exciting. I could not speak for about a day afterwards, so that gives you an impression, right? Yeah. And then also later this month, September 22nd at 7:30 p.m. in the Oscar Larson Performing Arts Center, there's a traveling company presenting the opera La Boheme, and it stars several of our choir students in the chorus. So I encourage you guys to check that out when the time comes and go support our students who are in that production. And with that, I am all finished up. I'll entertain any questions you might have.
Michael, any questions, comments? All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, ex officio reports, BMU board. Council member Rasmussen.
Thank you. The last 2 months for Brookings over the capital improvement plan. So that's all of the projects they're going to be looking to do over the next decade or so. I think it goes to 2031. So it's about a 1-inch ring binder full of every single project they plan to do, going through that line by line. Very educational, but I won't read that for you here tonight. End of report.
All right.
Okay, the meeting was last week, and informational care that had been in the news recently were discussed. Several executive and board committee reports were presented, including one by Jason Merkley, the CEO. And he mentioned several events. There was a good turnout at fundraising events for the Hospital Foundation and the neighborhoods at Brookview. And in the near future, there will be an employee appreciation event. The CFO also reviewed historical trends in revenue and presented the budget. It was noted that the hospital received a grant that will be used to translate various forms into Spanish. Then there was quite a bit of discussion by the administrative committee on Medicare Advantage plans, which have been in the news recently with Brookings Health Systems, and also the possible renovation of the Yorkshire Medical Building. With regard to the Medicare Advantage plans, it's estimated that less than 3% of the patients at the Brookings Health System will be affected by this decision of the health system to terminate the plans in which the Brookings Health System has contracts, and that includes Humana, Aetna, and Medica. It should be noted that many other plans do not have this narrowed network of providers that those plans have, and those plans won't be impacted by the decision. And I'll just mention it's been in the register quite a bit. The hospital is offering free presentations on understanding Medicare on September 13th and 27th at 11 or at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. And it will cover Medicare basics, how to enroll, differences between different parts of Medicare, and also the Advantage plans. The Finance Committee reported that financials are good. The Quality Committee noted that readmissions are below the threshold, which is good. You don't want people being readmitted. There were no hospital-acquired infections, and the hospital continues to be a baby-friendly institution. Dr. Ellsworth presented an update on medical staff credentialing and the last 2 pillars of the 5 pillars of the strategic plan were presented and discussed. And that strategic plan for 2023 to 2026 will be available to the public in the near future. That's all. But I'm sure, as Ope will agree with, and Steve, that information on Medicare is really important to understand when you get to that age.
Right, right. Contracts and change orders, item 8A, action on resolution 23-077, a resolution amending the joint cooperative agreement for the management of the Brookings City and County Government Center. Paul Racino, our manager, will present this item.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council members. Amend the joint cooperative agreement for the City County Government Center. It aligns spending authority for the city manager and county commission department director with budget authority. The amendment would allow for the standardization of budget management that aligns with city practices. Council and county commission both approved the expenditures of the funds for the City County Government Center through the annual budget process. The City Council and county commissioners would also approve any budget amendments that might come forward, which further maintains legislative oversight. Staff does recommend approval of the resolution as presented. The committee also unanimously recommends approval of the resolution as presented, and Brookings County has already adopted the amendment on their behalf September 5th at their commission meeting.
Thank you. Entertain a motion to approve. Moved and seconded. Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none. Council questions, comments? Please call the roll.
Niemeyer.
Aye.
Rasmussen.
Aye.
Specker.
Aye.
Tilton Burn.
Aye.
Wendell.
Aye.
Avery.
Aye.
Duran. Aye.
Move on. Item 8B, action on resolution 23-076. A resolution authorizing change order number 1 for 2023-08 STI Street Maintenance and Overlay Project for Bose Construction Incorporated. Charles Richter, our city engineer, will present this item.
Good evening, Council. 23-76 for change order number 1 for the 2023 Street Maintenance and Overlay Project. This change order includes additional work on solid waste collection and a temporary parking pad, along with a reinforced concrete sidewalk bridge for a valley gutter on Park Avenue. The original contract with Bose Construction was for $2,411,351.40, which included work for BMU that was included in this project. It is for $15,500. This change order brings the total value of the contract to $2,426,851.40. Staff recommends approval.
Public comment on this item. Comments from council? Questions? Please call the roll.
Rasmussen.
Aye.
Specker.
Aye.
Tilton Burn.
Aye.
Wendell.
Aye.
Avery.
Aye.
Duran. Aye. Niemeyer.
Aye. Item 8C, action on resolution 23-083, a resolution authorizing change order number 2 for 23-04 STI 22nd Avenue Phase 2 Reconstruction Project, Timmons Construction Company. Our city engineer will present this item also.
I'm requesting 3 of change Avenue Phase 2 Reconstruction Project. This change order includes additional mill and overlay on 8th Street South and 22nd Avenue, and a traffic control substitution for traffic light brackets. The current contract value with Timmons Construction is for $4,187,353.94, which included work for BMU that was included in this project. The proposed change order is for $36,125. This change order brings the total contract value $3,478.94. Staff recommends approval.
Entertain a motion to approve. Moved second. Is there any public comment on this item? Council questions, comments? Can you recall what your overall budgeted amount was for this project to begin with? I know it came under budget as far as the bid went.
Mr. Mayor, I don't recall. Significantly under budget.
Right. So I would assume we're still under budget what we had. Any other questions, comments? Please call the roll.
Specker.
Aye.
Tildenburn.
Aye.
Wendell.
Aye.
Avery.
Aye.
Duran.
Aye.
Niemeyer. Rasmussen.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, Charlie. Item 9, ordinances, first readings. Item 9A, introduction and first reading on ordinance 23-028, an ordinance amending and restating the Swift Health Center Advisory Committee ordinance. Michael Logan, our Dakota Bank Center General Manager, will present this item.
Thank you. I'm here and at home. I'm here today to present ordinance 23-028 that will allow the Swift Health Center Advisory Committee name to be changed to the Dakota Bank Center Advisory Committee. For background, City Council approved the name change from Swift Health Center to Dakota Bank Center in May of this year. Also, as a reminder, the committee was established in July of 26 and acts only as an advisory committee to the City Council. This ordinance also gave us an opportunity to amend any outdated information. This ordinance has been recommended by city staff, facility staff, current advisory committee members, and it's also been reviewed by city legal counsel. Any questions?
Thanks, Michael. Is there any public comment on this item? Questions, comments from council? We'll take second reading on this on September 26th meeting. Item 10, public hearings and second readings. Item 10A, second reading and action on ordinance 23-027, an ordinance certifying the 2024 City of Brookings property tax levy to the Brookings County Finance Officer. Ashley Rentz, our financial director, will present this item.
This is the second reading of ordinance 23-027, certifying the 2024 Brookings property tax levy to the Brookings County Finance Officer. State law requires that municipalities the annual appropriation ordinance to the County Finance Officer by October 1st each year. The city's levy is computed by taking the amount that was certified last year plus a factor for the and new construction growth, which is provided to us by Brookings County. To calculate the levy for 2024, the growth factor is 1.7035%, and the consumer price index factor is that maximum of 3%. The total property tax increase for 2024 is approximately $179,000 for a total of just under $4 million. No changes have been made since the first reading, and staff recommends approval of this ordinance as presented. With that, I'll stand by for any questions. Thank you.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Any public comment on this item? Questions from council? Comments? Please call the roll.
Tildenburn.
Aye.
Wendell.
Aye.
Avery.
Aye.
Duran.
Aye.
Niemeyer.
Aye.
Rasmussen.
Aye.
Specker.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 10B, public hearing and action on ordinance 23-029, an ordinance to permit by conditional use a major home occupation hair salon on lot 1510 of East Acres Second Edition, also known as 2031 Dirdall Drive. Mike Struck, our Community Development Director, will introduce this item.
Ordinance 23-029 is an ordinance for approval of a home occupation, a single-chair hair salon at residence at 2031 Dirdall Drive. Based upon our zoning ordinance and the criteria, it just falls into that major home occupation category. Particular location is highlighted on the yellow. The individual site plan on the right shows there'll be a direct entrance from the driveway area where they can walk along a sidewalk to the rear of the home where there'll be an entrance going into where this single chair hair salon will be presented. This does come to you as a unanimous recommendation from the Planning Commission, and staff would be available for any questions you may have.
Thanks, Mike. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Open public hearing on this item. Is there any public comment on this item?
Hello, I am Nikki. I'm the one applying for this salon. I previously have had a salon in my house at my old location for 12 years and have recently moved and would like to put my business back in my home. So I would love to have your support in putting a salon back in my house. Thank you.
Any questions for our applicant?
In Brookings, I live on Orchard Drive, and we can just about see Nikki's new house from our location across the tracks. We're excited to have her and her kids in the area, and definitely in favor of her permit this evening. On our street alone, we have a quilt shop and another hairstylist, and a couple doors down from me, a daycare that I know you're familiar with. And all those folks, I assume, hopefully I'm not telling on anyone, have gone through the same procedures that Nikki's gone through to get her this far tonight, and none of them have affected what we call in real estate the quiet enjoyment of the property adjacent to them. So she had a pretty slick setup over on Telluride at her previous location. It was pretty convenient, and I know she submitted a nice plan here tonight, so hopefully you'll approve. I look forward to seeing her next shop, and thank you for serving, and thank you for your time.
Close the public hearing. Council have any questions, comments? Please call the roll.
Wendell.
Aye.
Avery.
Aye.
Duran. Aye. Niemeyer.
Aye.
Rasmussen.
Aye.
Specker.
Aye.
Tilton Burn.
Aye.
Well, I guess you got a shot. Item 10C, public hearing and action on ordinance 23-030, an ordinance to amend Chapter 94, Article 1, Section 94-1, and Chapter 94, Article 4, Section 94-131, Section 94 to 132, Section 94-134, Section 94-135, related to the establishment of indoor pet services as an allowable use. Mike Struck, our Community Development Director, will present this item.
Thank you. Before you tonight is to establish a new use in the B1, B2, B3, and B4 zoning districts, as well as to define that use, and that use is pet services. Pet services, in a nutshell, is kind of all the services that you can think that your pet may be needing, plus the potential for boarding and daycare services. This is an industry that is growing, and with individuals in the care of their pets. And so it was time that we updated our ordinances. Currently, with our ordinances, really we had two options: an animal hospital or a kennel. Kennel let outdoor recreational space or pens for the animals to recreate in. With the pet services, everything is contained within a completely enclosed structure. And that's what kind of differentiates the pet services from a kennel. We did have some discussion at the Planning Commission, as well as with our internal staff meetings, the Development Review Team. We did revise the ordinance so that in the downtown B1 Central Business District, it would be a permitted special use. And one of the classifications for that is there would not be allowed the boarding or daycare of pets. And I think that was to try and address concerns that with potential noise as well as potential odors. And with a lot of the mixed use buildings downtown, having those pets boarded overnight, maybe not being able to control the noise as well when you have residential units up above, it seems to make sense. In the B2, B3, and B4 districts, there is no restrictions. It's a permitted use allowed by right, provided everything is within a completely enclosed building. Does come to you with a unanimous recommendation from the Planning Commission, and the Development Review Team supports the recommendation, and I'd stand for any questions you may have.
So moved.
Second.
Open the public hearing on this item. Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, close the public hearing. Does the council have any questions, comments? Councilmember Specker.
I just have one question. When use buildings, that was why it wasn't zoned or applied for in B1. We have a lot of multi-use buildings going up in other areas other than B1. And would those buildings be allowed to have the boarding?
They could. I think the difference between those mixed-use facilities and the downtown area is those mixed-use facilities are under common ownership. And so they control, like typically your commercial spaces are on the main floor and they lease them out. So they own those properties and have greater control, where in the downtown you have different buildings can be owned by different property owners, so the neighbors don't have as much control over the types of uses that would be allowed. Where in a true mixed use, like the Lofts at Park Hill or the 6th Street Center, that's one common ownership group or interest, and they pretty much have full control over not only the residential component, but also the commercial and who they're leasing to. So it would be to their advantage to make sure that the uses they allowed in there are compatible with the existing tenants.
That makes sense. Thanks.
Question. Please call the roll.
Avery.
Aye.
Duran.
Aye.
Niemeyer.
Aye.
Rasmussen.
Aye.
Specker.
Aye.
Tilton Burn.
Aye.
Wendell.
Item 10D, public hearing and action on a temporary alcohol application from Mosaic Wine Bar to operate within the city of Brookings, South Dakota for a sweat, sip, and shop event to be held at September 23, 2023 at the Social Light, 420 Main Avenue. Bonnie Foster, our city clerk, will present this item.
Mayor, council members, and members of the public, this is a special event or a temporary alcohol application for a ticketed event in partnership with Mosaic Wine Bar and Socialite to be held on September 23rd. All required documentation has been provided, and staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Bonnie. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Open the public hearing on this item. Is there any public comment?
Mayor, I do have a public comment from Caitlin.
Okay.
Caitlin Brightsman, owner or Condelli, get the last name correct here, of Mosaic Wine Bar, is unable to be here tonight, but she wanted me to read a public comment to you about the event. She says, "We are excited to collaborate with 2 other women-owned small businesses in downtown Brookings, Be Well and The Socialite, with our Sweat, Sip, and Shop event. This event will occur on Saturday, September 23rd at 9 a.m. with an outdoor workout class at the Socialite Boutique, and then move indoors for a shopping and mimosas until 10:30 a.m. Tickets for this event will be pre-sold and include access to an exclusive shopping hour, workout class, and mimosas. All attendees will have their IDs checked when they arrive for the event. Thank you."
Is there any other comments from the public? Public hearing is closed now. Comments from questions? Council? Please call the roll.
Duran.
Aye.
Niemeyer.
Aye.
Rasmussen.
Aye.
Specker.
Aye.
Tilton Burn.
Aye.
Wendell. Avery.
Aye.
Okay. Item 10E, public hearing and action on a request to update the legal description for the on-off sale malt license for the Crown DBA Danger Von Dempsey's, located at 770 22nd Avenue South. Bonnie Foster, our city clerk, will present.
Mayor, council members, and members of the public, this item is a correction to a legal description for Danger Von Dempsey's, located at 770 22nd Avenue South. They've been open a couple weeks now. This correction will allow them to serve alcohol on the east side patio area. This area was not included in the original application legal description. Just for your information, in this same location, both Carpy's Pub as well as New Saki also have similar legal descriptions, which include the exterior patio areas for alcohol sales and consumption. Staff recommends approval of this update.
Bonnie. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Open up public hearing on this item. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, council have any questions, comments? Please call the roll.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Rasmussen,
Aye.
Specker,
Aye.
Tiltonburn,
Aye.
Wendell,
Aye.
Avery,
Aye.
Duran.
Aye.
Okay, move on to item 10F, public hearing and action on resolution 23-078. A resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an on-off sale wine operating agreement for the Crown DBA Danger Von Dempsey's. Jamie Erickson, owner, 770 22nd Avenue South, Brookings, South Dakota. Bonnie will present this item also.
Mayor, council members, and members of the public, this is a request for the addition of an on-sale wine operating agreement for this location. They currently hold a malt on-off sale license. This would allow the city manager to enter into a 10-year agreement with Danger Von Dempsey's and with a 5-year mandatory midterm renewal that would come forward to the council. Staff does recommend approval.
Thanks, Bonnie. Entertain a motion to approve.
I'll move.
Second.
Moving seconded. I open the public hearing on this item. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, close the public hearing. Does council have any questions, comments on this item? Please call the roll.
Rasmussen,
Aye.
Specker,
Aye.
Tiltonburn,
Aye.
Wendell,
Aye.
Avery,
Aye.
Duran,
Aye.
Niemeyer.
Item 10G, public hearing and action on a request for an on-off sale malt license with video lottery authorization for Holiday Station Stores LLC, DBA Circle K, located at the intersection of I-29 and Highway 14 bypass. Bonnie Foster will present this item also.
Mayor, council members, and members of the public, this is a request for a new on-off sale malt license with video lottery authorization for a convenience store to be located on the northeast side of Brookings at the intersection of I-29 and Highway 14 bypass. You can see that on your map on your screens. Action for this item is for an on-sale alcohol license. The video lottery authorization portion will take place with the next agenda item. As a reminder to City Council, approval of an on-sale alcohol license does not automatically grant the video lottery authorization. Separate action must be held. The council has the ability to grant only the alcohol license and not the video lottery authorization. Once the video lottery authorization is granted, it cannot be revoked. The Community Development Department does not have a building permit on file for this location at this time, and it is not known to city staff what their completion schedule is, so we do not know if they will open in 2024 or if that will not be until 2025. If approved, the small license would be sent to the State Department of Revenue for final review and issuance, and the license itself would be considered inactive until such time the business receives their occupancy permit from the Community Development Department. All required paperwork has been submitted, and I stand by for any questions you may have.
Thanks, Bonnie. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded. I open the public hearing on this item. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Does the council have any questions, comments? Council member Specker.
Out of curiosity, there's no physical structure?
Yes, we have. There is currently one hold by Sarantis Theodosopoulos for a legal description of this inactive license for several years.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Please call the roll.
Specker,
Aye.
Tiltonburn,
Aye.
Wendell,
Aye.
Avery,
Aye.
Duran,
Aye.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Rasmussen.
Aye.
Item 10H, public hearing and action on a request for a video lottery authorization for Holiday Station Stores LLC, DBA Circle K, to be located at I-29 and Highway 14 bypass. Bonnie will present this item.
Mayor, council members, and members of the public, this is a video lotterization request for a location to hold up to 10 video lottery machines. As a reminder, the council has an ability to grant only the alcohol license and not the video lottery authorization. Once the video lottery authorization is granted, it cannot be revoked. The community development does not have a building permit on file for this location at this time, and we are unknown of what their construction schedule is anticipated to be. If approved, the video lottery authorization will be sent to the State Video Lottery Office for review and issuance, and therefore this, as well as the on-sale license, would be considered inactive until at such time they are granted an occupancy permit for this location. Approval of this video lottery request will utilize the last video lottery authorization available to the City of Brookings, as stated in our ordinance recently passed by Council in July. There will be no more video lottery authorizations until the city's population increases by 1,000. I stand by for any questions you may have.
Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Move second and open public hearing on this item. Is there any public comment? Close public hearing. Comments of council? Questions? Please call the roll.
Tilton Burn,
Aye.
Wendell,
Aye.
Avery,
Aye.
Duran,
Aye.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Rasmussen,
Aye.
Specker.
Aye.
So in between the two items here, what is the metric we're going to use to figure out if we have 1,000-person increase?
As stated in the ordinance, Mayor, we will use the census provided by the U.S. Census Bureau that can be reevaluated in even-numbered years.
Thank you. Item 101, public hearing and action on Resolution 23-082, a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an on-off sale wine operating agreement for Holiday Station Stores, LLC, DBA Circle K, located on I-29 Highway 14 bypass, Brookings, South Dakota. Bonnie will present this item.
Mayor, council members, and members of the public, this is a request for an on-off sale wine operating agreement to go to the location up there on the intersection of I-29 and Highway 14 bypass. If approved, this would authorize the city manager to enter into this with a mandatory 5-year renewal. Operating agreements are issued for 10 years. This license as well would be considered inactive until such time that the business achieves their operating or their occupancy permit from the Community Development Department. I stand by for any questions.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Moved.
Second.
Been moved second. Open public hearing on this item. Is there any public comments? Seeing none, close the hearing. Does council have any questions, comments? I have one question on that. So if it's inactive, that 5-year period, is that those inactive years part of that?
Yeah, those inactive years, this
So if
agreement.
nothing happens, they've only got 3 years of regular time, and then they got to reapply.
Correct. This agreement would go into effect upon Avery,
Aye.
Duran,
Aye.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Rasmussen,
Aye.
Specker,
Aye.
Tilton Burn.
Aye.
So we have no other business, but we will be having a study session next week on the 19th, starting at 6 o'clock. And some of the items on there is we're getting an update from 3M that night. The solid waste master plan will be presented. And then Bonnie's going to give us a tutorial on alcohol beverage licensing. With that being said on that, then we move on to item for the September 26th, obviously the first readings that we had tonight. We'll be discussing that. The consent agenda has numerous items on there for upcoming snow removal and street work. Obviously SDSU report, we're getting proclamation on domestic violence. And then other business, we've got a TAP grant application from Public Works, and then to accept the stormwater master plan. And then, of course, we have a progress report from the assistant to the city manager that evening. With that being said, is there any other items that the council would like to bring up? Paul, you have a few things to say?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. For those still listening here, an open house on Monday, September 18th from 5 to 7 to review the new proposed FEMA flood maps. The open house will take place right here in the council chambers at the Brookings County Government Center. We encourage all people to attend this open house that are interested in learning more about current flood risk. They can attain answers to their questions they have here at this meeting, learn more about flood insurance, get information how the newly updated maps will impact insurance and building requirements, and hear about potential cost-saving measures. We will have FEMA representatives here on site as well at that meeting. For more information, individuals can go to the city website. My hope is that our local media will publish this information about the open house that's occurring September 18th from 5 to 7.
Thank you, Paul. Without entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Been moving second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.